Hi, this is John, and I wanted to do a prelude to this video because it is my video on the Tim Talks Talkies challenge for the 25 best movies of the 80s, and I did not do very good at keeping up with the numbering, and I will definitely link his channel in the description, but it's very raw, so hopefully you get some entertainment out of it, and I'll see you at the end. Hi everyone, welcome back to my nerd cave. Been gone for a little while. Life has definitely gotten busier, and there was a round of a stomach flu that went through my family, so that wasn't quite fun. But here we are, diving into one of the biggest reasons I decided to do this. I know I'm the latest comer to the game, but I'm going to take on Tim Talks Talkies, 25 favorite movies from the 80s challenge, and that's exactly what it was. It was a challenge. Turns out that growing up on 80s movies really kind of makes you love all of them. But I trimmed it down to 25. So I'm going to start out, and I might get a little bit of flack for what's on my number 25. But we have Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Pretty much every single one of these movies in this stack are going to be ones that if they come on TV, I will sit and watch them. But this is an amazing movie. It's just so much fun. Everybody knows this movie. I don't really have to talk about it. I kind of feel that way about most of these. So, get to number 24 is Good Morning Vietnam. Classic Robin Williams. This one's got a lot of heart, a lot of soul, and a good amount of funny. But yeah, this is a really great movie. I remember in my family we watched it all the time. Rented it pretty often. But yeah, really great film. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you do. Next one is a classic. Everybody's heard of this movie. We have Beetlejuice. Another one I might get a little bit of flack for because it's so low on the list, but like I said, this was hard. But yeah, it's just such a fun movie, and Michael Keaton is just easily one of my favorite actors. He shows up a few times in this list, so but yeah, Beetlejuice, number 23. Number 22, we have Lethal Weapon. Lethal Weapon is just, one of the most fun buddy cop films ever. Oh yeah, this starts my Christmas list too, because I have 3 in a row that are Christmas movies. And yeah, Christmas movie, Lethal Weapon. I know, you haven't heard it here first, but totally a Christmas movie. Which leads me to Die Hard. Die Hard's totally a Christmas movie. We all know it. Even the people who say it's not, they know it. But yeah, wonderful film. I go back to this movie all the time. What makes it one of the best Christmas movies is it works all year long. So yeah, Die Hard is next one on the list. So, rounding out my Christmas movies, we've got probably my favorite Christmas movie ever, or one of, probably in the top 3 actually. But it's One Magic Christmas. This one's just like, I grew up watching this. Wonderful film, just totally takes me back, reminds me of my dad. But yeah, if you haven't seen this movie, um, definitely check it out. It's a great film. Also, this is where I'm going to start already harping on Disney. Disney, we need an update of this. Save this movie. Restore it. It's, gosh, it's one of the best Christmas movies ever. So get on that, Disney. Smokey and the Bandit. So, Smokey and the Bandit, like I said about most of these, every time I'm flipping channels and this is on, I stop. It's just such a fun movie. I miss those. I miss fun movies. They used to come out with movies for the sake of fun. Not every movie had to be an epic. Not every movie had to be a trilogy. Um, you know, or a franchise. You could just have fun movies. And this is a franchise. But this started out as just a fun movie. But, yeah, Smoking the Bandit is just an amazing film. Next, what am I on? Wow. All right. So, number 18. Beverly Hills Cop 2. I know it's number 2. It's a really great movie, though. It's as fun as the first one, but it's a little bit more plucky. It's a little bit more extra. Like one of the character Rosewood, just much better in this film than the last one. But yeah, wonderful movie. Eddie Murphy, Judge Reinhold. I'm pretty sure everybody's seen this, but if you haven't, you really need to. However, you should see it after you see this one. Beverly Hills Cop. It's just fun from start to finish. It very, very serious storyline. But man, is this movie funny. Can't go wrong with Eddie Murphy, of course. But yeah, this film is just so great. I feel like I don't even need to say that about these movies because I'm sure everybody has seen them. But so number 16. Okay, so number 16 I have to preface really quick. I was just introduced to this movie a couple years ago. In fact, it was really hard for me to find it on physical. I had to get it all the way from Germany. But this one's called Lone Wolf. I will admit, the reason I found it is because I have kind of a special connection to it. My brother-in-law is actually main character in this film. So, I hope he doesn't kill me for pointing that out. But this is just, it's a fun movie. And being that I've been a nerd my whole life, hence having a nerd cave. The nerd is the hero of the movie in this. You really can't beat that. I mean, that's the movies we wanted back then. This was in the B-movie section at my rental store too. And it also is just one of the best sci-fi movies out there. But it's The Final Countdown. The fact that this even came to 4K just blew my mind. I was so happy when I found out this was coming to 4K. Anybody who hasn't watched this film, if you like sci-fi at all, you really have to. It's even got amazing actors in it. And it's great storytelling. I don't even know how this is considered a B-movie, and I'm super, super happy about the care that was put into restoring this. Go watch this movie. It's a good one. Being bossy now. Sorry. Then we got more Keaton with Mr. Mom. This is a really, gosh, I'm just repeating myself. Like these are all such wonderful films. Um, yeah, basically just Michael Keaton loses his job. His wife goes to work, and he has to figure out how to be useful at home. And back in those days, that wasn't the most common thing for a guy to do. So this is a timepiece, like this is based on how things were in the past. So don't hate on it, but yeah, this is a really fun movie, and I definitely suggest it. Okay. Oh, one of the most fun adventure movies when I was a kid. Just straight up gave you the impression that this could be you. Like you could be a part of this adventure. It was Space Camp. This is literally what it was. It was kids who were going to space camp, and due to, the old trope, due to oopsie, they ended up going into space and they had to figure their way back. And just the memories of watching this with my family when I was a kid and all of that stuff, definitely had to put that on this list. It definitely was not the easiest list to make. The term challenge was perfect. So I highly doubt Tim Talks Talkies watches my channel, but the term challenge, sir, perfect terminology, because this was not easy. But the reason I decided to make a channel is this is what I wanted to do, and it was a lot harder than I thought it would be. But next we have RoboCop. This was the first rated R movie I ever saw. Saw it at the age of 11. Just always wanted to see this movie. How do you not want to see this movie? Part man, part machine, all cop. Like, one of those classics. I don't know that it was ever considered a B movie, but if you look at the special effects in it, it definitely wasn't much better than that. But it's such a classic film. It's like the storytelling, the action, just an amazing film. And I'm sure everybody's seen it. I'm preaching to the choir. Everybody knows this movie. But anyway, now we're down to the top 10. And this was, putting these in any type of order was not easy at all, but top 10 was the hardest. They're such iconic, at least in my life, they're such iconic movies. Number 10, we have The Last Starfighter. I have not seen Gran Turismo yet, but I have compared it to this. But The Last Starfighter is another one of those movies, similar to Space Camp. You got that feeling of like, hey, that could be me. Like, I could win that video game, because back when I was a kid, I was pretty much the king of video games. Weren't we all when we were kids? And now the kids all beat us. But it was another one that was like, if you could play a video game and then you brought into like the greatest adventure in the galaxy, it's just astounding. And the special effects in this didn't age well, but the story is still just amazing. Great adventure, a lot of fun. Number 9 is yet another one that's kind kind of in that same vein, but it's Flight of the Navigator. This right here is just another one of those adventure films that had the right type of kid in it to make you feel like, oh my gosh, I could do this. Story about a kid who gets brought ahead in time and kind of has to deal with what the world, almost becomes a lab rat, escapes. But yeah, for anybody who hasn't seen this, I don't want to spoil it, but it's just a really great adventure, and I feel like that's what most of these are. Obviously, the 80s were all about adventure. Speaking of adventure, I know it's got not the original on here as well, but Tron. Fun video game, fun movie. The great actors too, like Jeff Bridges, Bruce Boxleitner. Just really great chemistry in this movie. But it was just a fun video game movie. I feel like a lot of the video game movies nowadays, pretty much like all movies nowadays, they want to make it as serious and down to earth as possible. And I don't see why we can't just have fun with video games anymore. But, yeah, that's what this was, a fun video game movie. Synopsis: somebody gets pulled into a video game, and yes, this happened before Jumanji. But, yeah, a lot of fun. Definitely should watch this if you haven't seen it. But this is another one where I'm going to say, hey, Disney, can you prove that you care again and give us a 4K of this? This would look amazing on 4K. Then we have an ultimate classic. If you haven't seen this, then I'm sorry. But Raiders of the Lost Ark. Raiders of the Lost Ark is just, yes, it's the first movie with Indiana Jones in it. But to me, this one, the reason this one starts at all is it's literally the best one. Maybe it's because it's the first one I saw. Maybe it's because it's the expectation it created. But it's just so epic without being grand scale, which is interesting. I think it is far from the most grand scale movie out there, but it is like just epic. But again, Raiders of the Lost Ark, number 8. Sorry, I haven't been doing really well at giving you the numbers here, but. And then the next one is Ghostbusters 2. Ghostbusters 2, just, a really good sequel. Not a whole lot of sequels that are just super great, but this was one of them. Kind of had a fun message at the end of it. Actually quite similar to Scrooge, to which we're getting in 4K pretty soon. That type of message, just treating people kinder. But, yeah, this is a fun movie like all Ghostbusters movies, in my opinion, minus 2016. But this one is the second best of all of them. Which, of course, leads us to the first best of all of them, which is Ghostbusters. I remember the first time I saw this, we were over at some friends of my parents' house, and they had cable, and this was on, And I was really getting into it, and near the very end of the movie where things were really getting crazy, I remember we had to shut it off because my sister was getting too scared. So the first time I saw it, I missed the last, like, where all the ghosts were coming out that led all the way up to Gozer and Zool, and it just made me really sad. So when I finally got to see this, I was so excited. It was so much fun. Such a fun film, and everybody knows that. I can't imagine there's anybody that is going to see this video that has not seen Ghostbusters. Speaking of a movie that I can't believe anybody's never seen, next on the list is Back to the Future. Like, just Back to the Future. I mean, it's Back to the Future. I almost feel like I don't have to say anything else. This is the quintessential 80s classic. And that's why it's number 5. It's in the top 5. I can't even believe it's number 5. Like, this was so... I'm kind of hoping these challenges get easier, because I couldn't even imagine putting this one at number 5, but here we are. Next is quite possibly the best. Well, no, obviously not. But just one of the best films from the 80s. I can watch this anytime, all the time. I pop it in often. It's just, in my opinion, the best representation of Batman on screen, but it's Batman. Again, with Michael Keaton. Best Batman. But yeah, he again, my opinion, was the best at embodying 2 different characters. Like, the Bruce Wayne and Batman difference was just pretty well done. Like, didn't have to be over the top like other people play Bruce Wayne, but just kind of really well done. Again, one of my favorite movies. There's like not a time that anybody would ever put this movie on and I'd be like, nah, I don't want to watch that, because I could probably watch this daily if I had the time. But anyway, that is number 4. So number 3, 2, and 1. There's kind of a story behind all that. All 3 of these movies kind of lead through a single story arc, but they are 3 different movies. So they took up 1, 2, and 3. So number 3, The Voyage Home. Number 2, Search for Spock. And number 1, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Just grand scale and epic and amazing and thought-provoking. Star Trek is definitely not everybody's cup of tea, but if it is your cup of tea, then it is the best tea. Like, there's so many layers to everything Star Trek. You know, the original series, Next Gen, Deep Space Nine, you know, all of the series have their like layers, but the movies really kind of hid them. And you really kind of have to enjoy Star Trek to really see the layers of it. And they have like 32 different messages going on sometimes, but this trilogy right here 2, 3, and 4 is just one of the most epic space movies for me. Again, they're a lot of fun. And I'm pretty sure that's what the majority of these movies were to me, was fun. I enjoyed watching them. It wasn't, it didn't have to take itself so seriously. Again, like, Lethal Weapon and Die Hard and, these movies with serious tones, but didn't have to take themselves so seriously. They were kind of comedies too. But yeah, that's my top 25. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me ramble on about my childhood. So many of these movies were a huge part of my childhood, and I can't even count the amount of times I rented most of these. But if you have, if you've enjoyed this at all, comment down below. Like, let me know if you liked any of these movies growing up, if you like any of them now, if you found them and you're much younger than me. But yeah, let me know. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Yeah, thank you for joining me in my nerd cave, and we'll hopefully see you very soon.